Hey, so if you are one of the few that likes to voyeur from afar and not follow me on one of my social medias, well, you're going to have to follow me because I've had to make my social media private. I'm getting harassed, and 5 to 10 fake profiles constantly follow and harass me on that social media. And this time they've taken it too far. So usually it's celebrities, celebrity managers, doctors, military people, and they also take some random white guy and say it's a widow. They're a widow. And usually I play around with them and don't care, or I just report them and block them and let them know I'm aware that they're trying to scam me. I'm aware they're fake. They have a lot of, telltale signs that give them away. Today they took it a way step too far. So I don't know how they figured this out. I don't know how this was made possible unless they hacked my friend. But so I'm friends with this woman on Facebook. I'm not friends with her on any other social media. And all of a sudden there's a new profile of her on Instagram. And she didn't follow me, which is weird. And she, of course, couldn't message me on Instagram because I have it blocked. Unless you're a follower, you cannot message me or comment on my pictures. I've blocked it. I got really sick of Nigerians liking 20 of my pictures and then commenting and going into long stories and claiming they think I'm attractive. They don't find me attractive in the least. It's just a ploy to manipulate, which doesn't work because I see through them. But anyway, they always say, attractive smile, you're attractive, and they'll like a lot of my profile pictures and go through my Instagram to look at my profile pictures specifically. And what I worry about is that they were using, as they were looking through my Instagram, they were pulling my pictures to create a fake profile to scam some guy. It would really upset me if that was the case. I really hope it's not. I hope my face isn't being used like that. It would make me mad. But anyway, and I never post my last name because, in fact, I don't want them to have more information than they already have. But they took it a step too far. Somehow, I really don't know how they figured this out, but they figured out, because my friends are private and you can't see who my friends are unless you are a friend on my Facebook. So there are some friends that have liked my pictures and things like that, or commented. Most of my pictures are privated. The only one that's not private is the current profile picture, which you can't set as private. It won't let you. I think she liked that picture. Any rate, they impersonated her from Facebook, used her Facebook profile picture. She's changed it since then and has no idea. I haven't told her that she was impersonated by a Nigerian, but it's so odd that they were using Instagram as a fake profile of her, but messaging me on Facebook Messenger to acting like they were my friend. And they started out with, how have you been? Which my friend doesn't really say that. So that kind of was a red flag. But I answered and I said, hanging in there. And I said, how are you? This was their weird response. This is how you always know it's a Nigerian. Their grammar is terrible. They go into extremely strange, weird stories that don't make any sense. Their stories are always weird. But this is what he wrote. Have been good. I can't complain. God have been blessed from this COVID-19. I got a big blessing from CFE program. Did you aware of it? All of that was one sentence. There was the long running sentence. There was no punctuation at all in that whole mess. So I responded with "Hello Nigerian," and then I like spammed with a long, like lyric of the entire song of "Safety Dance" from the '80s, and this is what they responded with. Oops, sorry. Try it again. So basically, they were laughing at me and making a song of their own to let me know that they don't care that I know that they're imposters, you know, with a fake, you know, impersonating my friend. You know, I mean, that was basically laughing in my face, going, I don't care that you know. And so, you know, you could take it lightly. I have friends that are like, why do you take this so seriously? You know, and they laugh at me about it. Okay, I take it seriously because this is a criminal act. It's not, they're just impersonating medical people and our military officers and celebrities to scam people. That's criminal behavior. You're impersonating with intent to scam people out of money. It's criminal behavior at its finest, and it should be treated as criminal behavior instead of just overlooked and it happens all the time. I'm just sick of it. The fact that they went this low and created a profile of my friend, how did they know I was even friends with her? How did they, you know, I get that our Facebook and Instagrams are unfortunately connected, and you know, so you could find somebody's Facebook through, you know, Instagram and vice versa, which sucks. So I'm sure that's how that Nigerian figured out about me and my Facebook and my friend. I'm thinking she must have liked my picture, you know, on my Facebook, which is the same picture I use for my Instagram because they're migrated now. You can't keep them separate anymore because Mark sucks. And I wish that Instagram never sold to Mark. I wish they would have stayed separate. It was a cool social media. So was YouTube. YouTube was really cool until they sold itself to Google. I was one of the first accounts, and I was on here because of the fact my Kung Fu master wanted me to watch his videos so I could understand and practice more at home on my own with some of the moves. So that is why I was one of the first, is because he was one of the first, and he's also a tech guy. So he literally does tech for a living, but he has a, you know, a YouTube. And so since then I deleted that YouTube because I had gotten stalked and harassed. So I had to delete it, but it was not by Nigerians, funny enough. But anyway, so I had to start over. Anyway, I wish that it was all separate. It really does upset me that people can find you, you know, just by the fact that Instagram and Facebook are connected to each other now and they're not separate. So you can't have a separate, you know, life, you know, without people tracking you down, like former coworkers or like the Nigerian creeps that keep harassing me on Instagram. I'm so sick of it. You literally cannot comment or like on any of the celebrity posts. As soon as you do that, they see it and they start harassing. And even when I stopped you know, commenting and liking pictures that celebrities post, they still harass me because I guess I'm one of the Americans they figured out as a true American and my account is real and whatever. But I have to keep it private now. Now that they've impersonated a friend, I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to play. I'm done. A few years back, and this is another point, a lot of people are like, how come you say you're a singer and you're a musician, how come none of your music is on, you know, on the internet anywhere? And well, that's because all of my music was on my MacBook Pro. My apartment got burglarized. They broke into it with a crowbar while I was at work. My poor dog, my elderly dog, my very first rescue, was in his kennel at the time. They broke in, they took their time, they knew my work, that I was going to be gone at work for a long time. They knew my dog was going to be in a kennel and he was old. They took their time, they took all of my electronics, they went through my bin in my closet, found my IRS paperwork, took all of my IRS paperwork, took my MacBook Pro. How do I know it was a professional Nigerian crime ring? Well, because they also stole my Dell computer. My Dell was what I used for graduate school work for my actual degree that was hard. So all of my medical journals, all of my research papers, all of the slides and presentations I had to present to class for my research papers, all of that was on my Dell. My Dell, when I bought it, came with a tracker. So the former police that actually give a crap, that work for that tracking program, are the ones that found my laptop and pinged it and to another person that was a Nigerian that bought all the stuff that she had in her house off of the professional Nigerian crime ring. So all the stuff in her house was hot, and the police took all of it and gave it back to its rightful owners. But all that she had that was mine was my Dell laptop. So my MacBook Pro, they sold it to somebody else, and I never recovered it. They took my flat screen TVs. They took everything I had. I didn't recover anything. When I reported my apartment getting broken into to the police department, when I called them and I said, I'm scared, I'm worried that they might still be there because it was 5 o'clock, it's not dark yet, it's still light out. I was scared. So I had just gotten home. I was doing outpatient work at the time and seeing patients in their homes, and coming home to that with my door ajar with obvious damage to the door frame, I was really scared. And so I asked for a cop to come out to check the perimeter and check inside. He went inside for 5 minutes, and it took him over an hour to show up to my apartment. And so after he left, I looked under my bed, I looked in my closet, I looked everywhere, in my shower, I looked everywhere to make sure there was no creepy guys hiding out waiting to kill me or, do anything else to me in my apartment. So terrifying. But yeah, so it was a professional Nigerian crime ring. And why are they located in Dallas, Fort Worth area? Because we take in a lot of refugees from a lot of countries and a lot of states. So Dallas has been pounded, and so because of that, everything has been, it's just gone up. Prices for everything, really, renting an apartment, everything has gone up because they get that money for free from the government, so they could jack the prices high. And so rather than being grateful that we're helping them, they rob us. So they go out to certain apartments and hit them, and certain houses in certain areas, and they just watch your schedule. And the other thing that they do before they rob you, 2 of them come over and knock on your door, and they use a random name, like, is Mike there? And whoever answers, they kind of like look around while you're answering the door. And if you go, no, it's just me, or, if you're stupid and say, no, there's no Mike, or whatever, they get to figure out what you are, what you're like, and that you're a white person, and they start watching you. So that's what they did. So every single white person in my apartment complex got targeted and burglarized, including this white elderly lady. And they timed their robbery of her apartment like really well, because she usually stayed home. The only time she left was to take her grandchild to school, which was a very slim window, and they still managed to break into her apartment and steal. So I think they must have hit hers first and then got me. But because they took their sweet time with mine. Like I said, they went through all of my stuff. My dad's pictures were broken and all over the floor. My Bible was on the floor. They went through all my stuff. They went through my feminine products. They did not have any shame. They went through every single thing I had. My bedroom was a mess, and it was it really upset me, because I keep telling you, I'm from foster care. I have nothing. I went into foster care with the clothes I was wearing. I did not have anything when I went into foster care. All of my stuff was stolen, unfortunately, by family. So I had no clothes, no toys, nothing. So I went into foster care as is with the clothes I was wearing at the time. And everything I accumulated was from hard work, that from jobs I had had since high school. So the fact that what little I accumulated, even after paying off my college loans and paying my bills and living month to month, you know, with my checks, and I don't live in like a really nice apartment complex, so I'm amazed that they targeted my apartment complex. They didn't go for some high, nice apartment complex, which probably because those are gated and my apartment isn't a gated community. I don't know. But I'm just sick of it. You know, I wish that we could stop helping people by bringing them into our country. Help them where they're at and make them learn how to help themselves. Stop spending our taxpayer money on these people that aren't grateful, that keep scamming and stealing from us and committing crimes against us. What sucks is our government is just as bad. They're criminals too. They steal from us too. They give away, they spend our money and give it away like it's monopoly money. Billions going over to Ukraine. Billions. Like they keep sending billions for some reason. And yet Florida just had a hurricane hit it hard, and they made an announcement that they're only going to help the very poor in certain ethnic areas, which I think is complete bullshit. You didn't make that discrimination with Ukraine. You didn't say, are you poor? Are you wealthy? You gave that country billions of our taxpayer dollars, not just once, but 3 times now they've done that. So I just, yeah. And when I got robbed and they stole my IRS paperwork, I called the IRS. I called the DMV because all of my information was on there. My name, my date of birth, my driver's license. You have to give the IRS all of your information when you file your taxes, including your job title and job. All your information is on it. So everything about me, except for the fact that I'm a foster kid, former foster kid, was on that IRS paperwork that the Nigerians stole. So again, I called the IRS, I called DMV, DPS, Social Security Administration, Homeland Security. Guess who cared? Guess who of the police department cared? Nobody cares. So if you are not a high profile case or celebrity, good luck when you get robbed or scammed. Nobody cares. So I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of being scammed. I'm sick of being robbed. I'm sick of the criminal behavior, and there's no consequence to them. I really feel like, you know, block their internet, stop them from messaging people outside their country, you know. And same for India. Why are we continuing corporate welfare with all these corporations and paying them tax money to allow them to get out of the hole that they put themselves in by mismanagement of funds, which means CEO probably, you know, took a cut of the money and the accountant probably covered up for him and took a cut for themselves, and we're bailing them out constantly. And then for them to avoid having to spend any money or pay decent wages, they hire illegal aliens. They outsource a lot of the departments and teams to India. So, you know, people get mad that, you know, Mexicans are taking jobs. Get mad at the big corporations that are doing that. It's the corporations, it's housing developments that are owned by extremely wealthy CEOs and people that own these housing developments that decide, instead of hiring Americans, they hire illegal immigrants. And, you know, we have a drug epidemic. I mean, people are becoming hopeless. There's not enough jobs. It's if they had more of a purpose and a job to go to every day where they were appreciated, it probably wouldn't be as bad as it is now. But they don't have that. There's so much homeless here. There's so much people on drugs. And meanwhile, CEOs and corporations are outsourcing the whole entire department. So something that we need and we train for, like IT people, you know, people that are techie and go to school to learn to work with computers and solve computer issues, they're not actually hired. There's very few people hired in America to do that for these for American corporations. They outsource it so that they can get away with paying low wages to Indian people in India. And India also, they're known for fraudulent calls and scamming too. So it's ridiculous, but it's not going to stop because corporations are not being held accountable for their greed. Our government workers are not being held accountable. They're like sending billions to Ukraine. AOC, how the heck did she even get that job? How did she become a congresswoman? Do you know how hard it is to run for a political office? You have to have a ton of money to back you to run. You have to have a ton of money to sell advertisements on TV, on the radio, with yard signs, with everything. All of that costs almost millions of dollars to have. It's not chump change. And she was a barmaid, probably making at the very most $30,000 a year. How does someone that makes $30,000 a year, that's a barmaid and has just a regular bachelor degree from a regular school, become a congresswoman? She's not connected to anybody. She doesn't have ties. She's not related to somebody who already served, because that's the thing with a lot of the politicians. It's a very it's so nepotism, like Hollywood. Like, I love Ron Paul, but his son Rand Paul is a jackass, and the only reason he's a congressman is because of his dad. He's just as bad. He did insider trading, gave his wife stock tips about buying the medication to treat COVID before we even knew about COVID. He gave her the tips so that they could profit and become millionaires. So that's my other problem. Nancy Pelosi and her husband and all these people that are doing insider trading and becoming millionaires when they're public servants, fire all of them. Get rid of all of them and hire people and make the salary the same as you would for a fireman or a police officer. Stop paying a six-figure income to these people and stop giving them free medical benefits for life. Make them pay for the insurance and see how crappy our insurance is. I, for one, hate our insurance. My insurance screwed me on my eye surgeries. I'm freaking pissed. I'm so sick of it. I cashed out my 401k, paid them because they won't do anything unless you pay them at the time before the services. And now they're coming back and saying I still owe money after I already paid them, and I have receipts for it to show that I paid them. Make those freaking politicians have to have the same crappy insurance as us. I had to pay $500 a month out of my paycheck for my crappy insurance. Yeah, and my plan sucked. I had to have a doctor, so a PCP, primary care physician, and he was the one I'd have to go through and beg to let me go see a specialist for something. And the specialist had to be in network with my insurance. My insurance had to approve it. All the circus that we have to go through, the co-pays, the deductibles, I think the government should have to deal with that too. Make the senators and congressmen and all of them that work in DC, make them all deal with that hell. It sucks. I hate our insurance, and I don't think it's fair that they get to have free medical insurance, free dental insurance. They get to go to the gym for free. So when a few years back, when they shut down everything for the veterans, guess what was still open up for congressmen to go and do? Yeah, they still had access to everything. They could go to the gyms and everything for free. Meanwhile, veterans couldn't go and get medical care. So it's jacked up. I'm over it with our government. Our government sucks. And it sucks that Nigerians are able to scam and do crap like what happened with me today. I'm just so over it. But anyway, now you know why none of my music exists out here. It was all stolen. I'm super pissed about that. And now you also, and yes, I could create new music, but I've got a MacBook Air that sucks and has very little space on it. I got a cheap computer just to do basics, and until I can afford something better. But I don't have the equipment to actually post music on, you know, and I'm an actual proper musician. I don't use computer programming to make a fake music, you know, background. I can't stand that shit. So you know, I like Trent Reznor, and I kind of respect what he does, but at the same time I don't, you know. I'm like, make real music, dude. Stop using computer software, you know. Use actual instruments that you have to put thought into, and you don't have to just, like, you know, tinker with from a computer software program that's already pretty much done all the job for you. But anyway, yeah, I just can't believe they impersonated my friend and found my friend on my Facebook and took her picture and then tried to scam me. I'm sick of Nigerians. I'm done. So my Instagram is private and will stay private from now on. And I'm not gonna, if you want to be my friend, I will have a look at your stuff and make sure that you're legit and you're not a scammer, you know. And I will be able to tell if you slide in my DMs with crazy language and poor grammar if you're a Nigerian. So, you know. And I could tell a difference between someone who's just you know, if your grammar isn't perfect, I don't care about that. But come on, that guy, what he wrote, that was nonsense. I mean, I couldn't even understand it. And he thinks that's how we talk, you know. They're not familiar with our culture. They're just making assumptions based on a few TV shows that they've seen in movies. It is just, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I had to get that out. Thanks for watching. And now you know why my stuff is private.